Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm in a new filming spot location because guess what? We have a changed up sedan that I want to introduce you to. This is it. This is a 2023 Nissan Altima. This one being the SR trim, but the great news is this is the one that has the more powerful variable compression turbocharged engine underneath the hood. But before we get into this a little bit more sport size sedan that's featured in a new color called Gray Sky Pearl Metallic, let's talk about what's going on here. Nissan. The Altima has been in their lineup since the mid-1990s. Things have changed since then. There's been a big shift towards SUVs, but you know what? In this segment, the tried and true are still producing these mid-size sedans. Of course, the Accord, the Camry, the Sonata, the K5. Really, the one key player that went bye-bye is the Mazda 6. Now, another interesting that's happening is that the manufacturers, for some of them, are trying to bring some extra performance. Now, for 2023, Honda has decided on the Accord no longer to have that Type R detuned engine, that 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, but Hyundai and Kia each have their performance-oriented version. You have the Sonata N-Line and the K5 GT, both with turbocharged inline-4 engines. So what I want to find out is, has Nissan done enough to change the Altima for 2023, and is it the better mid-size sedan to get over a Sonata N-Line or a Kia K5 GT? Let's go ahead, let's dive into, like I said, this beautiful Gray Sky Pearl. Absolutely stunning color, one of two new colors for 2023. Let's go ahead and dive into this Altima. Right off the bat, the color fits it to a T. We've also brought you the Scarlet Red from the LA Auto Show. I'll leave the link of that video at the end of this one so you can see the two new colors for 2023. At the front of the business, you're still gonna get the same great headlight design. I like the way they're very angular, LED projector beam headlight, turn signals, and daytime running lamps. So that's a very nice touch, all enclosed in that housing. Because this is the SR trim, you do get black chrome on the new front fascia. Now the problem with that, it's only here. They didn't put it anywhere else on the car, and that to me is a little bit of a bummer, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. Now on the lower section, you are getting that new front fascia, new corner vents, but the bad news is they are not functional. So we are gonna zonk these, and I would have thought on the VC turbocharged engine Altima, they would have some functionality or put some LED fog lamps in here. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. But if you compare that to the Sonata N-Line, if you compare that to the Kia K5 GT, those don't have fake vents at the front like that. Now, when we come across that low slung, wide nose, you'll see the new grille design, that V-motion grille staying within their design philosophy. This is the SR trim, and you have a new badge. Now, you might be saying, well, Joe, didn't you already do an SR, a blue one? You are correct. I'll leave the link to that video at the end of this one as well. That is a naturally aspirated inline-4. So you could get the SR trim with the more powerful engine or without. To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, if you want the Sporty or Altima, you should go all in and get the turbocharged one, and that should be the only SR. But there are two different SR trim Altimas. We have the all-new Nissan badge within that new grille, and of course, it is fully functional. Comparing the grille area to the Kia or to the Hyundai, I think this one definitely looks a little bit more angular, whereas the other ones look a little bit more contemporary. So let me know how you feel about the front end of the Altima compared to the competition. Now, when you get up onto that low slung hood, still the exact same. Love the Gray Sky Pearl, that color, really, really well done. And then as we come around the bend, my favorite part is you're gonna get wheels that are specific to the SR, only on the VC turbocharged engine. And here they are, they're 19-inch wheels. I love the satin metallic gray finish. You might say to yourself, well, Joe, those wheels look like they'd be hard to clean. Possibly, but you know what? They look damn good. And I'm really digging the way the color pops nicely with the actual exterior color as well. 19-inch wheels all the way around. You do get sportier tuned suspension on this SR, and of course you're getting that sportier exterior style. One thing I want to point out is in one of the previous videos, some people were saying what's up with the gap on the hood. So what Nissan does, this gap actually lines up with the body line that goes into the fender. That's why that gap is there. Kind of weird that they did that. I wish they would have taken the fender and extended it out and make it flush, but that's why there's a gap here on the side. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. But as we come around the bend, when you go SR trim, and I'm gonna kind of swing around a little bit here, you're gonna get gloss black on your mirror caps. You got your turn signals built in. I like the way they got that side sill extension, and I'm even digging. Normally I'm not like a mud flap kind of guy, but these splash guards that are color match painted actually fit in very well with the overall aesthetics of the car. Here's what I was telling you about. This should be dark chrome here. I don't know why they left it just shiny, bright metal, so that should be dark chrome. We should also have, I'm gonna zonk, no panoramic sunroof. You get a standard size sunroof, but I like the way they have a nice small shark fin antenna that is color matched. And then you also, of course, besides the shark fin antenna, you have your color matched door handles. Now, when you're looking at the wheels and tires on this thing, these are 255s. So you have 255s, all four corners. And as we kind of swing it around the back, you'll see that hard body line that started with the gap in the hood, comes into the rear fender and then fades away. You got that floating roof design with the gloss black section here, and then swinging around all the way to the back, you still got the same lighting. So I am gonna zonk that. I wish they would have given us full LED lighting instead of the actual bulbs that are in there. The Altima badge matches perfectly with the color of the wheels. There's your SR badge, the new Nissan badge. You do have this very sporty trunk-lid spoiler that actually extends off the back of the Altima, looking really clean. And then of course, as we go down, I think my favorite part is that you're actually gonna get exhaust on each side, a nice oval opening slash cut on both sides, functional exhaust with your rear diffuser area. Just get rid of this fake vent thing. I don't know why they, like, think about the money they would save with not having to make this part. Just have this meet nicely with the color matched rear bumper, and I think you'd be perfect. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk horsepower of this VC turbocharged Altima. All right guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. Some of the competition does not have prop rods, but what do we have underneath that hood? Actually, an interesting way to develop some power here compared to the competition. This has a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, that variable compression turbo. We're putting out 236 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you compare that to the Sonata N-Line or the Kia K5 GT, this car comes up way short on horsepower. It is mated to a CVT transmission. That's gonna be the weak link in the chain when it comes to the drivetrain. Compare that to the K5 GT or the Sonata N-Line. Those both have 8-speed automatic transmissions. The vehicle does weigh 3,416 pounds. It is front-wheel drive, of course. 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. Quarter mile goes by at 14.1 at 101 miles per hour. And then MPGs, 25 in the city, 34 on the highway. So very interesting, the direction that Nissan has gone with this turbocharged Altima. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear if it makes any sound. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Nissan Altima SR Turbo. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, back in high school, I used to have a Sentra V-Spec, an SR V-Spec, and boy, I missed that car. I kind of like the way that this Altima looks, and you know what? I need a little bit larger sedan. How much is this? Very good question. MSRP. The way this one is optioned is going to be right around $37,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I do have to give it to Nissan for making a clean, sporty door panel. Nice silver trim, soft touch everywhere. I'm digging the new stitching, and what I like about the stitching, it's consistent throughout the whole vehicle. What I don't like, and I have to zonk, is the gloss black around the switchgear. Very large area. Door pocket is very, very tight. So maybe 2 of those 7-Eleven egg rolls that they have spinning by the hot dogs, and a nice large bottle of Pepsi Clear to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, soft touch. You do get a little bit of faux carbon fiber, and you know what? I'm gonna let it slide because it's not too obnoxious in your face, and I like the way they balance it with the silver trim, just like on the door panel. What's new in here, besides the stitching, is that massive 12.3-inch infotainment system screen, larger than the Sonata N-Line and the Kia K5 GT. Full touchscreen capability, of course, navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We go to our home screen setup, and you got your 3 different screens. Of course, you could scroll through a cornucopia of information and have all your widgets and apps and fonts and everything else. And then you go right back to home, and then you hit the map, and here we're at. Throw it in reverse. Backup camera is on the grainy side, but you do have your 360-degree cam, which is really nice. Put that back into park. Clean location on the AC vents. We do get dual climate control, heated seats, 2 stages, and a heated steering wheel. That's another nice touch. You do have wireless charging, USB-C, USB-A, and a 12-volt. My advice, get a radar detector so you don't get pulled over. You do have your start-stop button with some of that silver trim. I just wish they would have taken the silver and taken up more of the room where all this gloss black is. This is going to control your CVT. Boy, oh boy, what would it be like with a 9-speed automatic? Hopefully one of these days we find out. You got your orange stitching, and then on the side, they give you the orange and the white stitching. All soft touch material. 2 cup holders. The same key fob that Noah used on his Ark to save all the animals. It is nice and light though, so that's good. Just make sure that if you're wearing jeans, don't put this in the little jean pocket, because what could happen is it'll poke you right in your groin. Don't ask me how I know that. Soft touch on the armrest with the stitching. You see how consistent they are? Open this up, and you could literally put, I would say, 2 slinkies in here. The great thing about a slinky is that it's fun for both a boy and a girl, and it's really that present that amazes kids no matter what year it is, whether it's 1960 or the year 2300. Who knows? Seat material, nice soft with the stitching, nice design pattern. You do get full electric assist for the passenger. I got 8-way adjustable for the driver. The one bummer and the zonk is that you get the lighter headliner cover, which color I don't like. This needs to be dark. And you only get a standard size sunroof. It would be nice to have a panoramic sunroof in here, but why don't you get your butt on over here? I want to show you behind the flat bottom steering wheel in this Altima Turbo. All right, guys, here we are, business time behind the wheel. Now, you don't get any aluminum pedals, but you do get the Altima SR floor mats with the stitching. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower if I say so. You do have, of course, like I said, your seat controls that are easy to get to. I'm 6 feet tall, and these sedans, you got plenty of room in here. Steering wheel, very, very sporty, that's for sure. Flat bottom with the orange stitching. You see how consistent they were? With the new Nissan badge, the silver, flat black on the buttons. You do have paddles to go through your simulated gears. Remember, no gears in a CVT transmission. And then you got your 7-inch digital display flanked by analog gauges. I do like the gauge that I have up. It actually shows your boost gauge for that variable compression turbo. Very nice, clean on the graphics. And you do have the Bose sound system in here. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat, because you know what? 4 doors means you got more doors and more space to share with family and friends in your Altima Turbo. Let's get back. All right, guys, back seat time, and very similar amount of space compared to the Sonata, compared to the K5. On the backs of the seats, you do get the soft material, but the bad news is if you sit behind the driver, there's no pocket there. So if you have like a Pizzone or something like that from Pizza Hut, you're gonna have to put it in between your legs, and that could get really greasy and messy very, very quickly. Now, the back of the command center here, you do have your AC vents, USB-C and a USB-A. Look at how they do the stitching all the way back. I told you, it's the attention to detail. I have my own pocket here. Right now, I am really dying for 2 Annie Ann's pretzels. Cinnamon and sugar, hot and fresh, But you know what? We got plenty of room here. Pulling down the armrests. Nice and soft. You know those Bear commercials that talk about toilet paper and wiping your bare butt? This is as soft as that toilet paper with the 2 cup holders. Flip it back. Let's go ahead, get into that trunk because we're gonna see what this Altima Turbo is made of. Let's get to it. All right, guys, trunk time, real simple. Hit the button, lift it right up. You're gonna get a nice low trunk floor. And of course, you pull the levers and those seats are gonna do the 60-40 split. That's over 15 cubic feet of space. Let's see if we have a spare. That's the big question. I know everybody always asks, does it have a spare? Yes, you do have a spare underneath that rear cargo tray. But you know what? It's not about the spare. It's not even about the trunk. I wanna go on throttle and see what this VC Turbo is all about. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go do it in this Altima. All right, guys, we're in this 2022 Nissan Altima, that SR VC Turbo. Let's go ahead and just go on throttle. I'm gonna hit that button on the back of the shifter, put it into sport mode. I'm gonna leave the boost gauge up and we're gonna go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. So you can see with the simulated shifts, it definitely helps keep the revs down. Off the line, there's a little bit of turbo lag, but once you get going, it's gonna cut through those gears. And if you run premium fuel, you're gonna be getting over 240 horsepower, which is a nice number, especially when you're looking at cars like the outgoing Honda Accord 2-liter turbo. Now, comparing this to the Sonata N-Line and to the GT, you are, of course, getting more horsepower, but you gotta look at the big picture. And what exactly else are you looking for in your sedan? But very well sorted. I love the new infotainment system. These zero gravity seats designed by NASA are ultra comfy. And then the color with the new wheels really checks off a lot of boxes for me when it comes to the appearance. But let's go ahead and go on throttle again. We got a little bit of a left-right transition up ahead of us. On throttle, here we go. So you do have that extra sport tuned suspension. You're getting total traction off the line. It's just the challenge is that disconnect. There's this weird squishy disconnect between you and what the car is doing, and a lot of that has to do with the transmission, the CVT. Even with the simulated shifts, it does need a little bit more fine-tuning to get that connected feel, and that's where I think a 9-speed automatic would be amazing in this car. But getting to everything is well within reach. Nice to have the wireless charging. You do have paddles if you want to go through the simulated gears yourself. And then having the space for people in the back, plenty of trunk space, and it's nice that they actually have a turbocharged option for this vehicle. Probably one of the loudest turn signal noises I've ever heard in my life. I mean, just listen to that. And I feel like that's something new that they've added. I don't remember it ever being that loud, but that 7-inch display is very, very clear. You got your analog gauges on both the left side and the right side. But we're gonna pull out here and go on throttle. Here we go, on throttle. So you are getting some torque steer there. That's something that with a lot of front wheel drive cars you're gonna experience. And then everything else, like I said, steering wheel feels good. They did rework a few years ago the rack on this thing to give you a little bit more sensitivity when you're turning into a corner or going around a bend. But other than that, you know, like I said, it would be so interesting to experience this car with something other than a CVT. All right, guys, I want to show you once again. We're gonna go on throttle here, on throttle. It definitely picks up speed as you're going through the rev range. It just, obviously the Sonata N-Line, the Kia K5 GT are a little bit more buttoned up and composed when you're looking at the overall performance mid-size sedan. Yes, you could use the paddles, and it does give you a gear indicator at the bottom, let you know we're in simulated 4th gear, downshifting 3rd, 2nd, the loudest turn single chime you've ever heard. But on throttle, here we go. Using the paddles. So when you're using the paddles, it's surprising. The upshifts are actually pretty quick. Downshifts are a little on the slower side, but still overall, for simulated gears, works fairly well, which is surprising. The paddles are nice and large. Obviously, they're made out of plastic, but they're nice and large. And then you have, of course, that turbocharged power plant building the boost. It just, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record. 9-speed automatic, please, right away. But what I wanna do is I wanna get this out onto the highway and show you how the SR trim VC Turbo Altima cruises down the road. So we're gonna get on the highway and figure that out. All right, guys, we're gonna get back out here and we're getting onto the highway. The great news is about the Sport Tune suspension, it's actually well composed on the highway. It's not too harsh or anything like that, so don't worry, you know, about it shaking your internal organs out of your body. I really do like the 12.3-inch screen. I mean, I know a lot of people are not a fan of the floating iPad style, but it does not block your line of sight, and it is ginormous and very clear. So that's a very nice touch. But as you can see, going down the highway, you do have a bit of wind noise, but overall, very, very smooth. Steering feel is kind of like on the lighter side, but still not too light, which is nice. And no, there's no modes to go through in the Nissan Altima. So if you're the type of person that gets a little burnout on all these modes, sport mode, normal mode, comfort mode, there aren't any modes, so you don't have to worry about that and trying to play around with all that. But hopefully this has been a good overall review of this new refresh, updated with the changes 2023 Altima SR Turbo. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been a fun-filled day with this Nissan Altima SR Turbocharged. Definitely want to thank everybody at Nissan USA for allowing us early access to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Has Nissan done enough? Are you digging this new Altima SR, especially this color? I'm digging the color and the wheels. Let me know in that comment section which way you would go. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rides family. Of course, we got to give it up the man behind the camera. They call him the human tripod for more reasons than one. Show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Steven, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.